Hi everyone, it's Jane and Stephanie here, and we're back with some more content to support your health after 50. Today we're sharing some really common mistakes that we see women in our community make all the time, and we are big on increasing awareness, so once you know about these mistakes, you can actually do something about them. If you have any friends who would benefit, please share this video with them. And now we're going to dive into these common eating mistakes. We have 17 of them to share with you. We're just going to look at each one very briefly. So let's get started. Okay, the first eating mistake is not eating enough in general. Now this may be surprising to some of you, but a lot of women come to us eating too few calories. And when you do this, not only does it negatively affect your metabolism because your body goes into starvation mode, but when we eat too little food, it's virtually impossible to get enough nutrients we need to support our aging bodies. We need enough carbohydrates and fats and proteins to deliver all those amazing nutrients to our cells, for energy, for metabolism, for prevention of chronic disease. So we never advocate eating less than 1,200 calories and often more. We're not big calorie counters, but we can usually tell when someone is having too few. Even if they're eating healthy, you still don't want to have too few calories. It can affect your metabolism long term. So that would be the number one eating mistake. The number two eating mistake is being too restrictive. This may sound very much like mistake number one, but what we mean by this is having more of that dieting mentality, and restrictive in the sense of I'm never going to eat sugar again, I'm giving up dessert, I'm not eating carbs anymore. This is way too black and white thinking, as we say. So it's usually only a matter of time before our brain, or as we like to say, your inner rebel, says, forget this, I can't keep up with this, I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm just going to go back to my old eating habits. So this is also something that can contribute to yo-yo dieting, which can be so damaging mentally and physically. We suggest eating a variety of foods that you love, and if the food doesn't happen to be that healthy, just have less of it, savor it, and move on. So having black and white thinking and being too restrictive, it would be our second mistake. Third mistake is too much sugar and refined carbohydrates. Okay, we could go on and on about this, but chances are you know we need to limit sugar and refined carbs. The problem is they're hidden in a lot of things like yogurts and salad dressings, granola bars and cereals, and breads and crackers. So they sneak in a lot of different ways. We have a lot of really good videos that dive deep into this topic, so we're going to share them in the description below the video, so check those out if you want more information on this really, really important topic. Mistake number 4 is using artificial sweeteners. So as much as we want you to reduce your sugar intake or limit your sugar intake, we don't want you turning to artificial sweeteners as a substitute. There are so many reasons that we encourage ditching artificial sweeteners. So aside from the fact that they contain chemicals with unknown long-term side effects, there are numerous studies showing that they can still be addictive just like sugar. Plus, one of the main things is that using sugar substitutes keeps the taste of sugar, what we call, alive in your system. So while you're not actually eating sugar, it tastes like sugar to the body. Your body senses the sweetness, and studies have shown that it can increase your craving for even more sugar and sweets. So again, our video on decreasing sugar intake goes into a lot of the really, really helpful ways to reduce your sugar without relying on anything artificial. So again, check that one out.
All right, so yeah, you could tell we're not a huge fan of those artificial sweeteners. But let's move on to number 5, not getting enough protein. Now, during menopause, the natural decline in estrogen levels cause a loss of muscle mass and strength. So a good dose of protein has been shown to help prevent the muscle loss that occurs with aging. So if you don't get enough protein, your body is going to break down its own muscle tissue, which is going to make matters worse. Protein's also been shown to boost weight loss and maintain long-term steady blood sugar levels, which we're huge fans of. Protein's also filling and helps with satiety, so it's especially helpful if you're having cravings. We suggest aiming for 15 to 25 grams per meal, so it's definitely a mistake if you're not getting enough protein. Moving on to number 6 is eating diet foods. So, for the most part, products labeled as diet or light, and that's light spelled Lite, are involving chemicals, and we want to avoid those chemicals because they can really disrupt our metabolism and negatively affect our cells. So, stay away from the diet foods and go for the real food instead. Next is number 7, and the mistake is discounting the weekends. So we see this common mistake. Women will eat so well during the week, and then on the weekend, when they're on less of a schedule or it's more common to go out, they throw their healthy eating plan out the window. Or they underestimate how much they're actually eating and drinking on the weekends. And while we don't subscribe to a strict eating plan, it's still important to take notice and pay attention to what we eat on the weekends. It might mean saving food from dining out to bring home rather than cleaning your plate at the restaurant and feel stuffed, or incorporate a healthier version of Saturday morning breakfast pancakes. But take some steps to pay attention to your weekend eating, and you'll be much better off. All right, mistake number 8 is eating while distracted. We talk about this a lot. It's a big one, and we have to keep reminding ourselves about this one too. But when you do other things while you're eating, you're not going to pay attention to the food that you're eating. You're not going to digest as well. Chances are you're not chewing as much. And you won't even enjoy the food as well because you eat too fast, and then what happens is, well, I don't even remember eating it. Now what can I eat, right? So this can also lead to overeating, which is another problem. So make sure you're paying attention to your food.
Thank you, Stephanie. Distracted eating has definitely been something I've worked on myself in the last few years, which has made a big difference in my own eating habits. Okay, mistake number 9 is not eating enough vegetables. So you may think to yourself, oh, I always have a serving at dinner, or I may have a salad at lunch. But keep in mind that we need to get in, ideally, about 7 servings of vegetables a day. Vegetables are the ultimate superfood, ladies. They are so important, especially as we get older. We have a higher need for minerals to support our bones, phytonutrients or plant chemicals, and fiber that help ward off disease like high blood pressure and heart disease, cancer. So the other thing is they fill you up without filling you out. So it helps with weight management. And like I said before, you want to aim for a minimum of 7 servings a day for optimal health. We're going to link to other videos below that help you get more vegetables in. It's easier than you think when you're intentional about it. Mistake number 10 is what we call dealing with emotions in the kitchen. Emotional eating is such a huge topic. We cover this very deeply in our Simply Nourished program, and we'll be talking about it more in the future in other videos. But chances are you know that if you're upset or stressed about something, angry, bored, it could even be a happy emotion, many people treat themselves with food in order to deal with the emotion. And this is a very short-term solution. So we want you to be using other strategies in order to work on the emotion or deal with the emotion instead of food, because we only want you eating for the most part when you're hungry physically and not emotionally. So dealing with emotions with food is mistake number 10. So mistake number 11 is not getting enough fat. Healthy fats help fill you up. Healthy fats help you absorb all your fat-soluble nutrients. They increase taste and satisfaction, they help balance your hormones, they can actually enhance your weight loss, and they nourish your beautiful brain. So healthy fats include things like avocados, olive oil, nuts and seeds, nut butters, flax, chia, hemp seeds, and fatty fish. Even small amounts of things like grass-fed butter or ghee can also help fill your healthy fat quota. So be sure you're getting enough healthy fats at your meals. Our number 12 mistake is skimping on fiber. Fiber helps promote fullness. It protects against heart disease, stroke, diabetes, some types of cancer, diverticulosis, constipation. There are so many amazing things that fiber does in the body. Most women don't get nearly enough fiber, and we want you to get it from whole food sources. Unprocessed carbs are your best bet. So these can be found in things like vegetables, fruits, beans, seeds, nuts, sweet potatoes, and small amounts of whole grains like wild rice and oatmeal and quinoa. We like to see our clients get in at least 25 to 30 grams a day of fiber. So don't skimp on the fiber and make sure you're getting enough from good whole foods.
Woohoo, get that fiber in. Okay, let's move on to mistake number 13. Moving right along here. And that is drinking your calories. Okay, so we are not calorie counters. However, it's so easy to not notice how many calories you're getting in when it's through drinks. And a lot of people don't think about that, right? And it could be something like wine or beer or even iced tea. You might not realize it, and before you know it, you've had 100, 200 extra calories just from what you're drinking. So pay attention to what you're drinking, and just so you know, the solution is not to go for those 0-calorie diet drinks, as we talked about earlier. So yeah, pay attention to what you're drinking and be careful with that. All right, the next one, speaking of drinks, is too much coffee. So first off, we want to acknowledge that coffee does have some good health benefits. So yay for you coffee drinkers, right? And while we are not saying you have to give up your morning cup, however, first, it's good to know how your body runs on your own natural energy. So a lot of times when we work with new clients, we suggest just, hey, see how you feel without the coffee and get your energy up so you don't need the coffee. And it's one thing if you just enjoy the coffee, but when you rely on it, that's not so good. But second, too much caffeine has been linked to increase in hot flashes, sleep issues, and an increase in cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So we strongly suggest limiting to 1 to 2 cups at the most per day. In addition, coffee can be very acidifying, which is not at all good for our bones, which we have to protect as we get older. One last thing is that many coffee beans have high pesticide residue, and many have also been found to contain mold. So look for good tested brands, and we'll link to one below. And we also have a video on coffee alternatives, so we will share that below. All right, I love this one. The next one is eating to please. All right, what does that mean? We just feel it's such a common thing in women, especially in our age group. So what is eating to please? It's when you eat something you don't really want just to please somebody else. So maybe you're out for dinner and people want to get dessert and they say, oh, come on, Stephanie, just have some dessert, live a little. You don't want it, you're full, but you feel bad saying no, so you end up eating it. We want you to stop that right now. Stop worrying about what other people think. We see it a lot if you go to somebody's house and they're feeding you and they want you to keep eating and you don't want to make them feel bad because they might think you don't like the food or don't appreciate it. But we need to stop worrying about what other people think so much and do not eat to please. It's one thing if you're hungry or if you want to give yourself a treat once in a while, but stop eating to please. Next is number 16, and that's picking throughout the day. It is so easy to underestimate how much you're getting when you are constantly picking at food during the day. I know I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I'll be making dinner and I'm sitting there picking and tasting things. But even though it might be healthy foods and you're picking at a small amount each time, it really adds up. You might think, oh, it's just a little bit, I'll taste it, or might not even be aware that you're doing it. So we've had clients track every bite they eat, and sometimes they were shocked to realize how much they were actually eating in between meals, and just the amount that they were picking was much higher than they expected. So watch that picking of foods during the day. All right, let's move on to the last mistake, and that is not drinking enough water. So water is so good for you. Keeping your cells hydrated is going to affect your energy and just keep you healthier in general. It helps flush toxins out of the system. But also, in addition, a lot of times when you're thirsty, it might be confused for hunger. So you might think, oh, I need to get something to eat when you're actually really thirsty. So make sure you're drinking enough water. And when you think you're hungry, test it out. Make sure you're not actually thirsty. It's so important. So do you make any of these common mistakes that we went over? If you do, let us know which one of these in the comments below and start working on turning it around, just one at a time. And hey, listen, these are common mistakes, so don't beat yourself up if you resonate with these. Just work on turning them around one by one. If you're feeling a little stuck and need help establishing a consistent healthy eating plan for women over 50, come see if our intensive 3-month Simply Nourished program is right for you. We'd love to help. We'll put a link below so you can check it out. And thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified of our future videos. And also, check out our next video so you can feel great in your second half.